All right, this is 311, coding practice. And we're going to get started with this first problem here. It says, the following code should print x is greater than 0. However, the code has errors. Fix the code so it compiles and runs correctly. So let's take a look at this. So I have my class. I have my main method, open and close curly braces, so that's good. I have an integer called x that's assigned the value of 3. If x is greater than 0, what do I need here? Open and close parentheses. It's a good habit to put curly braces. I don't need it for one line, but I'm just going to add it anyway, just because it's a good habit to get into. I'm going to line them up. System.out.println x is greater than 0. You're going to need a semicolon on the end there. And then else, once again, I'm going to go ahead and put curly braces to get in the good habit of doing it. There you go. It's going to need an open quotation mark here, system.out.println open quotation mark. X is less than or equal to 0 and semicolon. Okay, let's run it to see if we're right. And it says x is greater than 0. In this example right here, x is 3, so x is greater than 0. If I were to change it to -3, it would print out x is less than or equal to 0. Okay, that's the first one. Next up, it says the following code to check your guess whether the answer, check your guess against the answer and print that it is too low, correct, or too high. We're actually doing this project right now in our Intro to Computer Science class, and they're making a guessing game in Thunkable. But it says, however, the code has errors. Fix the code so that it compiles. So I have my class, my main method here. I have a variable, which is integer, called guess, which is assigned 7, and answer is 9. So it should really say, guess, your guess is too high. That's what it should say. Line 7, it says, if guess, and doesn't have open parentheses here. I'm also just going to get in the habit of putting curly braces as well. It's not mandatory for this example, but I'm going to put them there anyway because I want to. Okay. Then if you look, it says system.out.println, your guess is too low. You need to close those quotation marks. Okay, the semicolons at the end there. Else if guess not assign the answer, if guess is equal to the answer, I'm going to put open and close curly braces again. And it says system.out.println, you are right. And there's a semicolon at the end. Anything else in line 15, I'm going to open and close my curly braces as well, just as a good habit. System.out.println, your guess is too high. Okay, so we're just debugging here. Maybe someone wrote this code and got errors, and we went through each line to see it. Everything looks like it lines up. Let's see if we're right. Your guess is too low. And that's correct. Because the guess is 7 and the answer is 9. The guess is too low. So 7 is less than 9. It prints out that one. The following code should print, you can go out. if you have done your homework and clean your room. However, the code has errors. I wish I'd use some different examples. I keep on using the same ones. Okay, so I have my class, open, close, my main method, open, close. I have a Boolean called done homework with a capital T. That's Python, lowercase t in Java. So line 5 needs to be lowercase t. Boolean cleaned room is assigned true. If you've done your homework, if done homework is true and cleaned room is true, system.out.println should be you can. So what I'll do is, rather than rewrite it, I'll put an exclamation point here. Oh, that would be an or. We'll go ahead and just change this to you can go out, and this to you cannot go out. Okay, because if you've done your homework and cleaned your room, you can go out. Anything else, you cannot go out. So if you've done your homework and haven't cleaned your room, you can't go out. If you haven't done your homework, but you cleaned your room, you can't go out. Let me look at syntax. Everything else looks good to me. Let's run it and see if we're good. It says you can go out because you've done your homework and cleaned your room. Got a notification from Bear Cross yesterday that my daughter did not do her book talk for quarter 3. And then we had a discussion at the dinner table why she did not do it. She was telling me she didn't have any homework and didn't have anything to do, or really she just didn't end up doing this thing that she should have been doing all quarter. So she did not do her homework. We have class, test 1. We have a main method. Int x is assigned 3, semicolon. Okay, we declare and initialize our variable x. And it says if x is in the range including 0 and 10. So if x is greater than or equal to 0 and x is less than or equal to 10, what do we want to do? I'm going to add curly braces here as well. Otherwise, what is this? We'll get to that in a second. System.out.println. That looks good. X is between 0 and 10 inclusive. Shouldn't be otherwise. It should be else. Curly braces. Okay. Line 12 says X is either less than 0 or greater than 10. Okay. There's no keyword called otherwise. It is else. Let's run it. X is between 0 and 10 inclusive. Another one. So this says the following code should print if x is less than 0, equal to 0, or greater than 0. Finish it to work correctly. Okay, so I have my class, my main method here. Those are both open and closed. I have an integer x, and it's assigned the value of -3. If x is greater than 0, then say, I'll change this sign to a less than symbol, right? If x is less than 0, then print out x is less than 0. Else, if x equals 0, Remember the double equals sign. I'll go ahead and copy line 8. And paste it right here and say x is equal to 0. And then I could write an else, but I'm going to write an else if. Else if x is greater than 0. So again, I could just write it with else, but I'm going to go ahead and paste my system.out.println as well. X is greater than 0. All right. So if x is less than 0, it prints out x is less than 0. If x is equal to 0, print out x is equal to 0. And if x is greater than 0, print out x is greater than 0. Pretty self-explanatory. If x is negative 3, x is less than 0. All right. Once again, you could write an else down here. I just decided to write an else if. That's just me. All right, let's see. This is number... I don't even know the numbers anymore. I'll just do it. It says, finish the code below so that it prints you can go out if you have a ride or if you can walk. Otherwise, prints you can't go out. Use a logical or to create a complex conditional. Okay, so I'll say if you can walk or you have a ride, you can go out. System.out.println. You can go out. Anything else? You're going to print out you cannot go out. You can't go out. I'm sorry. You can't go out. Okay. So if you can walk, if it is via this example, it is within walking distance. That's why can walk is true. But you don't have a ride. That means you can go out. Okay. It's the or logical operator there. All right, and that's that example. Next one says, finish the code below to print you can go out if you don't have homework and you have done the dishes. So no homework and you did the dishes. So I'll say if you don't have homework, the don't is the negation symbol, which is the exclamation point. And double ampersand, you have done the dishes. In this case, it looks like the Boolean assigned have homework is false. Okay, so you don't have homework and you did the dishes. That means that you can go out. So what I'll do is I'll go to the previous example here and just copy this from line 10, Probably takes the same amount of time. But I'm going to say you can go out. Print, you can go out. It doesn't look like I have to put an else here, right? It didn't tell me that to write anything saying you can't go out. So I could write an else here that says you can't go out if you didn't do this, but if have homework is true, it would just print nothing out. It just wouldn't respond. So a realistic example, you'd add an else, but this didn't ask for an else, so I'm not going to put one. 3 more. Finish following code so that it prints you have a fever if your temperature is above 100. And otherwise prints you don't have a fever. Oh my gosh, 103.5. I'll say if your temperature is above 100, so if temperature is greater than 100, so it could be 100 and wouldn't print out. But it says if it's above 100, so I'm going to follow that. If your temperature is above 100, system.out.println, say you have a fever. Anything else? I'm going to copy what I have in line 9 right here. System.out.println, you don't have a fever. Okay. And if you don't want this blank space in 6, you can get rid of it. I space things out, and that's just how I like to do it. Looks good. Let's run it. And there you go. Questions on this one? Hopefully you don't have 103.5 fever. My daughter said she had a headache yesterday. She went to the nurse. She wasn't feeling well. She didn't have a temperature. Two more. Finish the code to print. It is freezing if the temperature is below 30. It is cold. I believe it's cold if it's below 80. Anything below 80 is cold. This says cold below 50. It's nice out if it's below 90. Or it is hot using nested if-else statements. All right. So I'll say if the temperature is less than 30, system.out.println, it is freezing. Else if temp is below 50, open and close curly braces, system.out.println, say it is cold. Else if temp is below 90, system.out.println, it is nice out. And then anything else, system.out.println, it is hot. Now, these are not the temperatures that I would put here. I would say freezing, yeah, anything that's below 40, I'd say it's freezing. Anything cold, I'd say anything below 80 is cold. I agree with it's nice out, 80 to 90. But yeah, anything above 90, it's too hot. Okay, so if it's 100 degrees, it would print out it is hot. And this is using the same nested if-else statements that we used for the grade book in the last section where we did A, B, C, D, E, that we cascaded down numerically 30, 50, 90. That allows us to do that and not have to write compound conditionals. Okay. One more. All right. Now we want to see what grade a 67 is. So this says if your score is greater than or equal to 92, the score is an A. So I'll print out system.out.println. Get an A. Whoops, capital A. And then I'll say else if score is an 82 to a 91. So we'll say greater than or equal to 82. I'm going to copy line 9 and paste it down here. And we're going to say B. Now, I'm about to copy lines 11 through 14 right here, just to make it easy for us. I'll copy that, and I'll paste it here, because that would be C. That would be D. So let's do C and D. So let's see what C wants. If you scored between a 72 to an 81, so anything above a 72 would be a C. And anything above a 62 would be a D. We don't follow the scale here at ACS. And then anything else is going to be an E. Okay. Let me just, I'll zoom out here so we can see everything all together. We have my if score is greater than or equal to 92, print an A. Else if score is greater than or equal to 82, B. Greater than or equal to 72, C. Greater than or equal to 62, D. 61 would be an E. Run it. A lot of green. I like it. You've attempted 11 of 11 activities on this page. Awesome. That's 311 coding practice.